Today's class is about possibility and kind of expanding where we're at. This is the last one of the expand theming as we kind of are going to wind down a little bit more in July. Not all the way down, but just a little bit more. And the overall pose that we're working with, not necessarily towards, is handstand. So we're going to move with handstand. It's not going to be this thing that we have to do. None of the places where it gets inserted in is required, obviously. If you're someone who likes to have a little bit of wall space, having that with you would be nice. And then also, I'm going to have 2 blocks for some half moon stuff that we're going to do. The overall theme of this class is this kind of what can we do and how can we make it a little bit more joyful, playful, easeful, even if it's kind of like feels like there's some work behind it. So don't worry about doing any of the things, just kind of show up where you're at, bring a little playfulness. Sometimes that term can be a little annoying because you're like, I don't feel playful, I don't want to, but what I think I mean is just bring a little bit of softness to it. It doesn't have to be, I don't want things to feel so hard. I want it to feel really spacious and fun and sweet as we move through this flow. On that note, we're going to start seated today. And I saw a bunch of folks just joined. I'm going to just put in the playlist one more time. Hi, Clara. And 2 blocks if you have it. If you like to have a little wall space for the option to jump up, go ahead. No worries if you don't. But we are going to start seated. So I'm just going to start right where I am and kind of shift my camera just a little bit. I'm going to come off my block. And we're going to start in just a comfortable cross-legged seat. And I want you to just land with your hands on your knees or wherever feels really comfortable. And take some deep breaths. So again, sometimes when someone's like, bring some fun, bring some playfulness, and you're like, whoa, I'm not there yet. See what you can do with your breath right now to create more of a boundary around this time. So I know a lot of you, if you're like me, kind of jumped right out of work into this. Luckily, I give myself a little buffer time, but still kind of coming right out of something else into this. And so how can you use your breath to set all that down? Because we don't want to bring it with us where we're going. We really want to leave it at the door, at the mat, at the outside of this room. And so with a little bit of mental intention and a lot of breath, you can usually at least start that feeling, start that process. And so when we set all that other stuff down, it doesn't have to be a certain thing, but when we set it all down, it leaves room for something else. It leaves room for possibility. It leaves room for enjoyment. It leaves room for the unknown. Take 2 or 3 more breaths, really defining that boundary. I'm going to do some circles. So on an inhale, you kind of lean forward and then just circle one direction. And you just inhale as you come forward, exhale as you lean back. Can feel like a little cow-cat there in the spine. But I really want to more kind of feel that sensation of stirring up. Stirring up some energy that maybe didn't get to express itself during the earlier part of your day. Also just stirring up the physical body, stirring up the hips, the rib cage, the neck. Good, and then come through center and just kind of land for a minute. So feel that kind of spiraling still continue even though you are still now. See if you can relax your shoulders just a little bit more. And then we're going to stir the other way. So it's the same thing. It's an exhale back and inhale forward. Kind of feel how the body reacts. Maybe give a little bit of pressure to those knees. One more cycle. And once again, just land right at center and just let it kind of spiral into itself. Start with, and then continue on with some cow cat. So you're gonna pull your shoulders back, lift your chest forward, and then around, leaning back. So it's a lot like what we just did, but a little bit more linear and a little bit more concentrated along the heart and the spine. So keep doing that. I'll meet you in a moment. One or two more of these. And then go ahead and stop that movement and again, pause for a moment. Just pause. Feel everything just come back, land where it needs to land. You're going to take the feet out in front. So if you kind of weren't on your mat centered, go ahead and come into that now. The feet are in front of you, hands behind the thighs is good, but you might bend the knees because we're going to start in this boat pose pretty close. We're not going to make it very challenging at first. So feet are down, hands behind your thighs, get a really good grip, pull your shoulders down, and then just lean back to the point where you feel a little engagement of the core. See if you can lift your chin. Just feel this. So we have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere along the path. And we don't really need to have that full destination all mapped out. Maybe this is good. Maybe you keep your torso exactly where it is. Engage the belly a little bit more. Bring the hands up. So we really haven't changed much. Just take a couple breaths here. And then again, maybe you stay right here. Maybe you change by lifting your feet up. See if you can keep your trunk lifted in that same position. So all of a sudden, now I've got a shake brought in like kind of right away personally. But I'm going to stick with it. See what happens. Good. And then maybe straighten the legs, but your trunk doesn't change at all. Just stick with it. See what happens. Use your breath to regulate. Good, and then cross over the legs, just go straight into downward dog. And do some pedaling. So in downward dog, just pedal out and let it be a little bit more than the legs, kind of taking the hips and the trunk into it. So in that name of playfulness, we still need to be really secure in our foundations. So I'm going to drop in, we're all going to drop onto the knees, but I want to just kind of focus on the hands for a moment. That this is what we want for any plank, any handstand, anything in between, that you have your hands down. I know all of you know this, but it's a good reminder just to get there. So your hands are exactly shoulder distance apart and your 2 index fingers are exactly parallel, like the number 11. You're pushing down your index fingers and hugging your upper arms together. And that already, when you do that kind of double action, it already feels like you've got like a little something there to hang on to, something that you could kind of activate a little bit. And then once you lift your knees off the mat into downward dog, shoulders secure to your back. So you're not pulling or pushing them somewhere specific. You just want to kind of hug them to your back as you hug your upper arms to the center. Head hangs, neck long. So now keep all that in your upper body. Walk your feet back just about a half foot print. And we're going to go into plank pose on an inhale and out to downward dog on an exhale. So now that you've got all the structure, now you can soften it up a little bit. Maybe bring a little smile to the face or a kind of a bend to the knees, like a little bit of a wave instead. And go ahead and just move in a way that feels supported, but also like it could go somewhere. Good, a couple more. The next time you come into downward dog, kind of reset into a dog that feels good to you. I like to have my feet a little closer in dog than in plank. Inhale, reach right leg high. Exhale, send foot through to hands. Take a moment here to get really settled in your legs. So step your left foot so that your hips are truly being supported by your feet, meaning they're not too close, left and right. And inhale, rise up, high lunge. So again, once we get that structure, allow it to be a little soft. Maybe do some wrist circles. We were on the wrist for a moment there. Shoulders down, right knee bends, breathe. So this idea of being soft and strong, we've really been working with this the whole month. Take a bigger inhale. Exhale, hands down, go straight back, downward dog. No flow here yet. And take an inhale, left leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. Again, make sure you've got that nice stance that your feet are as wide as your hips, so you're really supported. Get low in left thigh, active in right leg. And then bring a little softness to it once you find that structure, once you find that connection. Arms up this time, maybe open, close, hands. Open, close like really rapidly. And again, if you were working on a computer today, like 95% of the world does at some point through the day, maybe go a little faster. Good, and then just kind of settle in. You can stop the movement of the hands, take another breath. And exhale, hands down, straight to downward dog. Relax here for a moment. We're going to go in and out of high lunge, a familiar cycle we've done many times, though I don't think we've done it in a little while. So about 2 breaths each side, and then we just go right into the next one. So it's just a continuous flow. There's no chaturanga. Let's get started. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. Inhale, rise up, high lunge, really reach. And then right away, exhale, straight back, downward dog. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Exhale, dog. Couple more with my guidance. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, foot through. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands down, back. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, down and back. And just keep going now without my guidance. Super simple. Moving with your breath. And again, allowing for some of that stuff to just fall away. And so when that falls away, the stuff from your day, the shoulds and need tos, etc., what gets left behind? What is there room for? Keep going and see if you can go a little bit longer than you were thinking. What if I just go one more round? Do one more each side. And just land in downward dog. Let the heat kind of melt into the body. Let the movement clear whatever needs to be cleared away. Go ahead and drop your knees. We're coming back to hands and knees. Take your right leg back. So again, the hand placement kind of always stands. It's always there for any time we're on our wrists. Take your right leg back and just start by kind of pushing right heel back a little bit. And then come into a neutral space. So it's almost like you're in a plank pose besides that left leg. And you're going to just exhale, lift your right leg as high, and then drop it down. So it's just really simple. We won't do a bunch of these, just a few. The idea of kind of kicking. Good. Last one. Lift up. And now you're going to kick to the side, just a couple. Like a fire hydrant, but you just go back and then to the side. Let's just do two more of those. So when you've got that asymmetry, you still got to hold your hands the same way. One more. Good. And then just come into like a child's pose, a little bit like a snaky child's pose. Kind of soften your rib cage, maybe lift your palms off of the ground, give your hands a break. And then we're going to go into the other side. So set up those hands, extend your left leg back, ball of foot, and a couple rocks on that ball of left foot. And then come into that middle ground where it's almost like plank if you lift your right knee off the mat. And then exhale, lift, inhale down. Do one more kick. And then a side kick. Just about 5 of these. See what happens to your shoulders and your hands when you get thrown off to the side a little bit. See if you can keep the symmetry in your upper body. Good. And then come back into that kind of wiggly child's pose. Maybe lift those palms off the ground. And then return downward dog. Take a moment in stillness, let your head hang. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, send foot through to hands. Once again, we want that solid base for our high lunge. Come on up, high lunge. So find that kind of bounciness. We are going to do kind of a variety of transitions here, but all kind of captured within 2 movements. So we'll do a movement and then move on to the next. So take an inhale. On an exhale, twist open towards your right side. Take a deep breath here. Full exhale and a full breath. Good. On an inhale, come through center. This is going to be kind of our transition. You're going to lift or drop rather your left heel and exhale into a high skandasana. So your right toes are going to be lifted. We'll pulse here for a moment. You could keep those right toes down if you wanted. But the idea is that we're kind of staying up high. We're not coming all the way down to the ground. It's a shorter distance. And then it's an inhale to transition through your high lunge and an exhale. Inhale through center. Exhale, skandasana. Inhale, pivot the foot. Exhale, twist. Inhale and exhale. And so we're going to just drop into it. And so moving that foot obviously is the most important part. But once you have the kind of foundation set, can you let it feel a little bit more free? Maybe a little bit more fluid. Maybe the poses change a little bit. Maybe they open up in a way that I'm not showing. Let's do 2 more cycles. Good. The next time you come into high lunge, we'll meet there. Drop your left heel and come into warrior 2. And then straighten your right leg. Come into reverse triangle for a moment. Just really open up across your chest all the way into your right hip. We're going to keep going the same concept. If you do have a block, put it out to the right side of your mat. Take an inhale in your reverse triangle. Now it's going to be the exhale that moves us. So on an exhale, you're going to bend your right knee, start to place your hand down, and then inhale, open up half moon. Take a breath here this time, and then we'll keep going with that flow. So take a big inhale, half moon. Exhale, land through a warrior 2. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, start to lift off. Inhale, really express half moon. Exhale through a warrior 2. Inhale, reach back. Exhale and transition and continue. And so just like before, make it your own in a way that allows for something new. Feeling a pose in a new way, feeling a transition in a new way, feeling a little bit more confident in a new way. Good. The next time you come into half moon, just stay. Maybe you play with coming up on fingertips. Soften your right knee, maybe. Maybe you play with coming off the block altogether. It's okay to fall. That's part of being playful. And then bend, bring your right hand to the mat, bend your right knee, land your left foot. We'll come into peaceful warrior, this time with the right knee bent. Maybe a half bind, left hand kind of sweeps behind, right arm up and over. Just see what opens up when we don't move, when we land. On your next exhale, right forearm to thigh, come into your half bound side angle. Move your neck around in a way to kind of find out where it's sticky in your left shoulder. Next inhale, straighten right leg. Once again, that peaceful or reverse triangle. Exhale, hands frame right foot. This time floats. Our first chaturanga, everyone. Exhale, downward dog. Relax your neck and breathe. Kind of let everything settle in. So now you know where we're going. We're doing the same thing on the other side. See if you can let that knowing go. Instead, just see what happens. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. Make sure you've got a solid base. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Let it be a little soft. Take a big inhale. And on an exhale, twist to the left. Arms wide open. Take a full breath here. So on this one, we inhale through high lunge and exhale, drop the heel, come into Skandasana. So we can just kind of pause here for a moment. And then inhale, pivot that back heel through high lunge. Exhale, open across heart. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, Skandasana. So again, it's the foot, that foundation, that does the positioning, that gets us where we need to go. And so then what do we do with that? How do we use our foundation to be a little softer, a little bit more free, a little bit more open? So keep going through these really 3 poses. See what happens. Let's do a couple more. Next time you're in high lunge, just use that as kind of your transition point. And then drop your right heel for your warrior 2. If you're just using one block or you don't have it set up, move that block over to the left side of your mat, front left. Arms open. Inhale back into this reverse triangle, peaceful triangle. Stay here, left leg straight. Take a breath. Big inhale in the triangle, the reverse triangle. Exhale to soften the left knee and start to transition into the lift. And then an inhale into half moon, and we will pause for a breath. Take a big inhale, half moon. Exhale, land. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, transition through. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Keep going. The next time you come into half moon, stay there. What can you do with it to change it? Maybe up on fingertips on that block, maybe no fingertips at all. Take a full inhale. Exhale, land again, this time, warrior two. And then inhale into peaceful warrior with that half bind. Just see what happens there. Now left knee bend. Take an inhale and then exhale, left forearm to thigh. Really lengthen your spine for half bound side angle. Feel kind of how the neck and shoulder connect in this pose. Good. Inhale back into that peaceful triangle one more time. Exhale, chaturanga number two. Flow through it. Breathe here. And then drop your knees. So once again, we're in hands and knees. Secure base. This time, we're going to focus on the upper, the front, the top of the body. So just tapping your opposite shoulder. So doing this in your hands and knees. And what I find that, like a habit that I have, is when I do this, I can kind of end up turning my hands way out. And I'm not going to do that because I'm really thinking about handstand today. So I want to just kind of keep my hands like they would be in a plank, a handstand, a downward dog, every time they return to the earth. So of course you could say like this. Another option is just kind of halfway. You can go into a halfway plank. Or of course, a full plank. Knees up. I like a little wider feet here. And then here especially, I have to remind myself, keep those hands placed for that strong support. Do a few more. Good, and then go ahead and drop down. Rest in a child's pose. Maybe make it a little snaky. Maybe you kind of wash out the hands a little bit. And then come into downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Let it be a little soft. Exhale, hands to heart. So we're going to come into a revolved lunge. And there's not a lot that's playful about revolved lunge. So just make it what you need it to be. Inhale, and on an exhale, if you want the deepest twist, elbow outside of knee. Otherwise, left knee down, left hand wide, any other variation. So breathe here for a couple breaths. Let some of that kind of stickiness around your rib cage, your heart, etc. See if you can just soften it, even in the challenge. Good. And then you do have the option, maybe step that left foot just a little bit more and just see about lifting your left leg off the ground. People call this toppling tree. And it really, the toppling part, I think, is the key aspect here. Take another breath. Come back into high lunge. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, warrior two. Once again, straighten that right leg and just breathe and reach for a moment. Bend your right knee. Slide the left hand behind your back. So you're in this half bound peaceful warrior again. Take an inhale. On an exhale, forearm to thigh, you're in this half bound side angle again. Stay here. See about the full bind. Don't overthink it. Lift your heart and breathe. So just in that same line that we just did, just to play, instead of bird of paradise, maybe just lift your left leg up. Don't overthink it. Back into that half bound or full bound side angle. And then free up the leg, free up the arm, come back to reverse triangle. We're returning to half moon. Grab your block to start, though we may not use it the whole time. So bring the right hand onto the block, left hand onto the hip, left leg up to the sky. Open across your heart. Maybe bend that back knee, see what happens. Kick. I like to soften my right knee to get there. So this is a great place to stay. Regular half moon is a great place to stay. Or if you wanted like a standing split, all good options. Otherwise, we're going to come back to half moon, but we're going to ditch the block. And we're going to bring in the right fingertips to the mat. Make sure nothing's in your way. And those strong hands that we've been focusing on, we're going to do a little handstand hop out of half moon. Take an inhale where you are. And this is only, and you can do this without actually leaving the ground. So let's do that one first. You're going to place both hands, make it that strong foundation, bend your right knee, and then just be like that. So it's like a standing split with your hands down, right knee as bent as it needs. So if you want to hop up, you go inhale, exhale that firm foundation, but then a little lift. And then inhale, exhale, little lift, inhale, and let's do two more. And then when you're ready, land back, high lunge or low lunge rather, hands down and flow. So let's go ahead and take a moment off the wrists, whether that's child's pose or kneeling, just to kind of let it go. So what I don't want any of this to do is to build either frustration, because it's hard, or the idea of I can't, I never, all of that. Because this whole class, this whole idea is about possibility. So each little tiny baby step, maybe it's just balancing in half moon, determining balance first is always the first step. Maybe it's just bending your knee enough to get those hands flat in a standing split and feeling that, some weight into your hands. And all of that are doors open to possibility. So let's come back to downward dog if you're not there yet. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. And kind of land right here. Inhale, hands to heart. Exhale, you're coming into the twist. So it's a big twist, but make it what you need it to be. Knee down, arm wide, any of the above. And then breathe into the stickiness. And then seeing way past the stickiness, just see about lifting your right leg up. And again, not here to frustrate anyone, but if you don't try it, you never know. When you're ready, you bring your foot down all the way around to warrior two. Take a moment just to land those feet. And then straighten your left leg, left arm up into reverse triangle. Take a moment. And then weave your right hand behind, touch the left thigh as you bend that knee. You're going to stay in this peaceful warrior, half bound. And then left forearm to thigh, half bound side angle. Again, a familiar place. We've been here. And sometimes familiar is still sticky. Stay here or full bound. See how that goes. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine. Good. Only if you want to. See about just kind of lifting that right leg up in the bind. This is like a no-go for me on this side, but I'll give it a shot anyways. Return, side angle. Once again, just straighten that left leg, let some of that stickiness flow. And then transition into your half moon. Use your block at first if you like. Open across the heart. Breathe. Maybe with a soft left knee, you grab the top of the right foot and kick it back. Kind of see how that goes. Good. And then we're going to move into those hops. So again, your options are stay in half moon in some way. Do the hop with no hop, but you press your hands down and just see that transfer of weight. Do standing split instead, or the hop. So the first one we'll do without hop. Left fingertips down, half moon, and then you flatten your hands, you bend your left knee a lot, and you just kind of feel the 3 points on the earth. Next option is half moon, and then an exhale to a little hop. And keep going. We'll do that a couple times. Good. And then go ahead and step back into a lunge and into a flow. And once again, find a place that feels like a rest, whether it is child's pose, downward dog, kneeling, and let it just, all of it kind of dissolve away. So even the exciting part, even the fun part, the new part, we let that soften as well. So there's room for even more. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. So as we move into one more little taste of handstand, whether you want to or not, you might not have a wall. And so I want to be cognizant of that. So first options are you could do mountain pose and just kind of stand there. And I don't mean just stand there, but feel the integration of, actually, why don't we all do that while I go over our other options? So standing in mountain pose, everyone do that. Feet directly underneath your hips. So they're not super wide, but they are separate. Push the feet down, activate the thighs, pull the belly in, lift the heart, and then bring your arms beside your ears. Notice if when you bring your arms beside your ears, they do lift up, the shoulders lift up, and instead just kind of secure them to your back like you did before. And then push your head back in space a little bit. Notice if you kind of let your belly come out and just hug it in a little bit, mostly to make your low back long so that your low back trunk is part of the party. So this is one great option. Another option would be to kind of use all these elements. I'm just going to do it here in the air in plank pose. And then the final option is obviously handstand, but if you don't want to do handstand, you can come to the mat and do it with me. Is downward dog. You're going to lift. You can be in kind of a long dog, so a little bit longer. You can inhale your right leg up. Keep it up as you come forward into that three-legged plank. Back up and down, left leg up. Keep it up as you come into plank and back. And that's a great practice for kind of kicking up one day. You could also do that same thing, or not the same thing, but a similar thing that we did earlier, just lifting right leg up, 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 and then knee down, other leg up, up, up. So we did that earlier for that same idea of kicking. So if you do want to do a couple hops, go to the wall, but don't go too close. We want to be far enough away that we don't want to actually kick to the wall. It's better to not come up straight or not come into a balance and work on that part than to kick to the wall and get used to something behind you, because then we get used to kind of falling backwards, which I did for years and years, and now I'm trying to undo. So all these same movements that we've already practiced, just bringing your leg up to help find a way to maybe balance, or maybe just have a little fun with some kicking. So let's do about 2 more to each side. Whatever you're doing, whether it's the actual handstand hops or any of those downward dog or hands and knees or standing mountain pose movements. And then go ahead and land. Let's start seated. Just in a comfortable cross-legged seat. Actually, I can face you. So in a comfortable cross-legged seat, just start by bringing the backs of your hands into the soft part of your torso between your rib cage and your hip bones. So we're just giving like a little, kind of looks like chicken wings, giving a little softness to the backs of those hands. We intentionally, I think we did a total of 4 chaturangas today. We intentionally didn't do too many, because I wanted to kind of save the time on the wrist for those other practices. Take another breath like this. And then go ahead and just extend your legs. Go ahead and bend both knees so that the right knee can come, or the right foot can come underneath, and the left leg can go on top. So this would be kind of full Gomukhasana, where the knees are more or less stacked and the feet are more or less parallel across the mat. The other option is to take your bottom leg, which is the right leg, all the way straight. And that eases a significant amount of pressure. So if you're feeling too much pressure, this is your answer. And then take your right arm up, Bend the elbow, push the head into the hand, and just stay here with the hand on the elbow for now. And then bring your left hand down, back and around. Maybe hook the hands for Gomukhasana. Maybe you just grab onto some clothing. So, we think about like wrists and core when we're talking about a handstand, but there's also all those stability throughout your shoulders, your chest, your back. So see if you can soften some of that. Go ahead and release the hands. Maybe roll the neck one direction and then the other. Rock back and switch. So if you're doing the full Gomukhasana with both bent knees, right knee is on top of a bent left knee. Otherwise, right knee is on top of a straight left leg. And you might notice that sides are different, so allow for that. Bring your left arm up, then the elbow, hand holds left elbow, head into forearm. And just be here. Stay here or weave the right hand behind. Just see what happens with access. And breathe. Good. Go ahead and release. Just take a moment for a moment. And then unwind your legs. Go ahead and come down onto your back. So on your back, we're going to start with a couple bridge lifts. So what I mean by that is just repetition. We did a lot of repetition early on and kind of moved away from it. So touch your hands to your heels. Make sure your feet are parallel to each other. On an inhale, curl up, lift up. Exhale, bring it all down. Inhale, curl up, lift up. Exhale, down. Inhale. Exhale. And if this is kind of like dropping into this, it just feels right. Great. Otherwise, next time you lift up, walk your shoulders underneath you, keep the hips lifted and walk those hands underneath. Just see how that goes. If you want, if you feel safe in your wrists to give this a try, maybe you lower your hips down onto those clasped hands. I like this for a little bit deeper stretch through the forearms and elbow. If it's like, ooh, that's icky, that doesn't feel right, then don't do it. Otherwise, you can just stay in bridge or come down. Now, if you're on the sitting on your hands or your elbows or whatever, go ahead and pull back up, pull your shoulders in, and then remove your hands and lower down. Windshield wiper your knees and let it be kind of the pace that works for you. So sometimes I like this kind of speedy, just to really get out the kinks. Other times, nice and slow is what works for me. And then go ahead and come in through center. Bring your right knee up. Hug it in. So first you're just hugging the knee towards your chest. And then bring your hands to the back of your right thigh and push your right thigh away. So stay here in this kind of L shape, which again mimics some of the shapes we've taken today already. Stay with a couple options. So one option is you bend your right knee again and you just kind of let both knees fall to the left for a twist. Another option would be to keep your right leg straight, but you also straighten your left leg and kind of help that straight right leg cross the center line over to the left floor. Turn your chin to the right. Good. Bend that right knee. Come back through center. Hug it in. Replace right foot to the mat. So knee bend. Hug left knee in. Squeeze. And then straighten left leg. Push left thigh into hands. Keep pushing the thigh into the hands, keeping left leg more or less straight. So again, we're going to come into the twist, maybe bent knees and both just kind of fall to the right. Maybe straight right leg, left leg crosses all the way over. Turn your left chin to follow your left arm. Go ahead, come back through center, hug the knee in. And this time, extend both legs into Shavasana. Kind of wiggle out your hips to make your trunk super long. Take any adjustments, props you need so that you can just land. So just like we talked about earlier, that idea of even the good stuff, even the excitement, the fun, the change, the challenge. See if you can once again use your breath to kind of create more space, more boundaries. So it's just you on this floor, on this support, whatever you are, wherever you are. There's more room for something else to come. Take a deeper inhale. Big exhale out of your mouth. Do 2 more like that. Then come up to a comfortable seat. Just sit with your eyes closed or gentle gaze down to the ground. Just take a moment to marvel at a body that can move around the mat. It doesn't matter what you were able to do today or not, but just being able to move. Marvel at 60 minutes without something else requiring your attention. And even if it did, you still gave your 60 minutes right here. Those 2 things I think are precious, and we can make more room for them. We just have to give the space for it. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great evening out there. Take really good care.